What's up, y'all? It's Ty, back here with another video. And in this video today, we're going to be looking at Slam Dunk with Scottie Pippen review. Now, I watched Basketball Evolution from 1974 through 2023. That video is on my channel, me reacting to that. And this is one that really caught my eye. And I want to take a deeper dive into that. Shout out to my guy, Genovi, for making this video. The link to his channel will be down below in the description. Make sure to go show mad love and support to my guy.
One of the more ambitious projects to release on the Sega CD or 32X was the game Slam City with Scottie Pippen. It tried to capture the feel of one-on-one pickup street ball by utilizing full motion video of real athletes as the sole asset to structure the gameplay around. So,
maybe this video was ahead of its time, but I didn't think so when I was watching.
How did the final product turn out? Let's have a look. This is Retro Impressions and Reviews, a show dedicated to answering if video games from the past are still worth your time today. When Tom Zito set out to make a digital pictures basketball game, there was one goal in mind: create an experience that captured the authentic feel of gritty street ball without using any animated or computer-generated graphics. In order to accomplish this, a set was designed and built in Hollywood that would allow for uninterrupted filming no matter the time of day, and a casting call was put out to find athletes to fill significant roles to keep the basketball aspects as genuine as possible. Slam City saw release on 3 platforms: the Sega CD in November of '94, a DOS version in December of the same year, and a 30.
It's crazy what goes into making a video game, but this doesn't look like, again, they didn't, I think they said like everything's real, so it's not like AI or anything, but like this is crazy.
2X release 1 month later. According to the manual, the game seems to have complex controls, allowing the player to do everything you would expect in the situation you're supposed to compete. I'm not going to get into the weeds here by discussing the 7 pages that cover.
Okay, this looks horrible. Like, you shoot a shot and then it has to go to a different camera angle.
Them, but it's mandatory that you read the manual and understand it if you want any hope of winning. It's also important to know that the progression in this game is towards one goal only, and that's playing against Scottie Pippen. This is a goal that can only be reached by playing one-on-one street ball against 4 other opponents.
Okay, I kind of like this though, because you level up the video game and eventually play for Scottie Pippen. So it probably gets harder as you go up. I kind of like that part of it.
While trying to rack up the 1 billion respect points required to face the man himself. This is the largest Sega CD and 32X game released, requiring 4 compact discs, each containing one of the 4 opponents you can challenge.
Wait, you need 4 separate discs for each opponent? Okay, this is crazy.
You can play against them in any order you wish, or only the ones you like if that's your desire, because beyond earning respect, there is no rules or requirements as to how you go about doing so. If you only want to play against Smash, who is on the 4th disc until you qualify for Pippen, you can do that.
Oh, okay, so you wouldn't, okay, so you really don't need the other games. That's fine. I thought you needed all the different games to eventually play versus Scottie, and I was going to say that's insane.
Each disc is self-contained with the Scottie Pippen segment included, allowing the player to boot from any of the discs and beat the game without swapping it out. There are also a fair amount of options available, but nothing you wouldn't already.
But like, what am I watching here? It's like it's like a VR one-on-one type thing. Like, what is going on?
Fact. You can save and load past games, something that should be utilized every time you gain or lose respect if you ever wish to see this game's end. You can also look at your lifetime stats and adjust many aspects of the rules.
This looks like something you'd play on, I don't even know, they were like really common in like 2010s, like where you have the Wii and like, or not even a Wii, but like a camera and like you'd move somewhere, but it'd be like so delayed. That's kind of what this reminds me of, but it's not, because you had a controller actually.
Including time on court, possession sequence, and points required for victory. The character you play is called Ace. You're the new guy in town trying to earn respect by engaging in some outlandish hoop action. Ace was portrayed by Keith Gibbs, who played college hoops for Cal State before signing a contract to play professionally in Europe. The team who signed him folded only 3 days before he was scheduled to depart, requiring him to look for another gig. As luck would have it, this closed door opened another opportunity with the movie The Air Up There. From there, anytime a 90s movie involved basketball, Keith Gibbs was requested on set.
That's crazy though. Like, that's crazy. This dude had it all.
Some of his most notable contributions include Blue Chips, Space Jam, Basketball, White Men Can't Jump, and The Cable Guy.
I was gonna say, I think I've recognized him from before, probably for, well, Basketball. I watched that, not a great movie, but I watched it a couple times. But I've watched White Men Can't Jump and Space Jam as well. The other 2 movies I've not watched.
As this game goes, Ace is the star, and was the only cast member required to be present during every shot even though you're mainly looking at the back of his head.
That's what I'm saying, like you can't even see much.
Numbered according to how difficult the game designers consider the opponent to be, and how many respect points you can net from doing so. Disc 1 contains fingers. The manual doesn't tell you a ton about him, other than he's a pushover that won't net you much respect. While it's true that the respect earned while playing against him is lower due to what the game perceives to be an
it's probably easier, right?
Opponent, he's no pushover.
What? So why do you get an easy opponent that's hard?
As far as I'm concerned, he's the third easiest to beat, and one of two I recommend you play against if your goal is to beat the game. Fingers is played by Malcolm Ian Cross, who played basketball in high school before moving into acting. Most of his gigs revolved around sports-themed commercials, making him a natural fit for the project. One interesting tidbit is that he's never played Slam City, as he doesn't enjoy playing games.
See, this is crazy. So, like, if you were a part of making a video game like this, would you play your own game? I feel like I'd at least want to see it and play it myself. If I spent all the time like in this, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't, but I don't know.
Disc 2 contains Juice, who's portrayed by Dana Wilkerson. Dana set a number of high school records before attending Long Beach State University, where she helped lead the team to a Final Four appearance in 1988.
Final Four? Long Beach State went to a Final Four.
After finishing this game, she would go on to play professionally for the American Basketball League, later being inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Juice is considered by the manual to be the second easiest opponent, but she's without a doubt the hardest in the entire game. This is a disc I recommend you skip, unless you like the—
See, it's just crazy to me. Like, okay, so they have a manual, right, that tells you what's the hardest, what's the easiest. And they can't even get that right. Like, imagine you go and up against the second easiest. So like, oh, let's say you do the easiest first, you beat that, then you go against the second easiest, which is actually the hardest. That doesn't make any sense.
To feel the crushing punishment of defeat after defeat, because only luck or the knowledge and ability to execute precision button presses will net you a win here. Disc 3 contains Mad Dog, who's portrayed by Keith Newbert. Keith played college basketball for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, making it to the Final Four in 1987.
Jeez, what's up with all these guys going to the Final Four?
During his senior year in college, he joined the football team as a tight end and was drafted—
I didn't say he looked like a football player to me—
by the New York Jets the following year, where he would go on to play in the NFL until being forced to retire due to an injury in 1992. Following this game, he would take up various roles in television and film, where he continues to have success as a writer, actor, director, and host of numerous projects. Mad Dog is without a doubt my favorite opponent in the game, due to his large list of one-liners and expressions, something that helps make him the easiest opponent to win against, as it's a bit easier to spot what patterns he's gonna run. He's described as a—
This guy looks like he'd be the hardest guy to beat. No? Or the first guy. Like, I don't know, man.
Crazy person in the manual, but in reality, he's tame compared to the final player you can challenge. Smash is contained in Disc 4 and was portrayed by Anton Nance, who played professionally for the Los Angeles Clippers before moving overseas to play professional ball in Europe for over a decade. Unfortunately, Nance struggled with drug addiction, resulting in many run-ins with the law.
It's so crazy, like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Mainly like the 70s and 80s, I don't know, I think. Like the addiction to drugs. It's amazing. I'm just so surprised.
And 2 features on the show intervention. Finally, we have Scottie Pippen. 6 NBA championships, 2 Olympic gold medals, and he's generally considered one of the best defenders of all time. Whether you love or hate basketball, chances are you know who Scottie Pippen is.
I wonder if he's actually like the toughest guy to beat.
And help boost the profile of this game, as he had just won the NBA championship for the 3rd consecutive time, and with Michael Jordan retiring for the first time, it left him as the biggest name in Chicago. Unlike the rest of the cast who trained for a month before filming began, Scottie Pippen was uninvolved. In total, he was present for 2 of the 7 days filming.
That's how it is, like for stars though. Like in anything, you get them for a small part of it, and that's about all you can get.
Took place. Because of that, the game contains very little footage of him, and he's generally considered the easiest opponent in the game.
The easiest one, so you work so hard to get up to him, and then he's the easiest.
Part of the marketing strategy was to emulate the success of Shaquille O'Neal and the cross-promotion done with his music career in tandem with Shaq Fu. One of the most respected music producers of the time, John Bonetz, was brought in to create an original song to be performed by Scottie Pippen. It does a fair job of capturing the spirit of the game, and there was even some consideration for a standalone release that ultimately didn't happen. Think about this.
Standalone release is crazy.
The game contains 4 discs, each with a Red Book audio version of Scottie Pippen's Single Respect. That means by owning this game, you also own 4 copies of the Single Respect that can be enjoyed in your CD player of choice. When you're not playing this game, leave one in the office, one in the car, one in the Sega CD, and the other in your Discman. I haven't the foggiest clue how many copies of Slam City were sold, but if it was anywhere near 250,000 units, which is definitely plausible, that puts this single at platinum status.
That is crazy that it just got out there that much with a video game. That'd be cool if like that happened, not necessarily with CDs, but like video games. Like I know that sometimes they try to give you like gear or stuff, but if they had like something cool with the game that you bought.
By Scottie Pippen, a platinum single. Beyond this one song, the composer John Baker handled the complete soundtrack, and while there are only a handful of songs, I find it to be outstanding work that exceeded the vibe the developers were trying to achieve. One thing this game has going for it is the time capsule of early 90s Attitude Era shorts that play out during a match.
I loved how you forced him to go all the way over you on his stunts.
What did she just say?
I loved how you forced him to go all the way over you on his stunts.
You can't change a bet! No, I didn't. I just made another bet that's opposite of the last one, but for the same amount as the first one.
There are a ton of these small clips.
Oh my gosh. This is actually a cool part of the game. I didn't know this was part of it.
Weave a nonsensical storyline that's pure nuttiness. It's honestly the saving grace of this experience, as they are enjoyable to watch, and when viewed in the presence of company or friends, you might net some quality laughs.
That's what I'm saying. Forget the game.
With that, it's time to address some of the common complaints, and there's only really one. The gameplay is some of the worst I've ever encountered, making for an experience that's nearly broken in how difficult it is. There is zero skill involved in winning, as it's a matter of pressing the right action button at the right time to accomplish your goal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, without, like, I don't know, if everything's done like it was, it's just, it doesn't make for a good game. It just doesn't.
It's much closer to the game Time Gal with all the visual aids removed than it is a sports title. Visually, you can be a reasonable distance back from your opponent and attempt a shot that would be impossible to block in any other game, only to have exactly
It's just like a bunch of cutscenes is really what it is.
that happen. Time and again, the experience of playing the game doesn't match the result you see on screen. If you memorize the scene that plays out right before the gameplay starts and the corresponding time for each successful action associated with that scene, you might breeze through this without issue. As far as version differences go, there isn't much to discuss. The DOS version can run the video in full screen, but the audio takes a hit. It's also nearly impossible to get working, making it a non-viable option that I can't recommend. The 32X release is without a doubt the definitive version. Not only is the in-game music processed as the Sega CD intended it to be heard, it also has cleaner visuals with the addition of more on-screen color.
Whatever the one on the left is looks way cleaner.
Less artifacting. In the end, it's really hard to call this a basketball game. It's essentially Space Quest or Dragon's Lair, with basketball visuals layered on top of a control scheme that was already outdated by the time the 90s rolled around. Personally, I love full motion video games, however, they have to be good. And unfortunately, a significant portion of this genre relies more on the gimmick rather than producing
I was gonna say, this isn't like a basketball game. This is a game like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's a storyline game where you try to get enough respect to play Scottie Pippen, but it's not a basketball game because there's
gameplay. Slam City falls into this trap in the worst way, delivering a genuinely fascinating and fun presentation, clumped with broken controls. It's a
I feel like it could have been a fun game though if it was like good.
Because with competent gameplay, this could have been a serviceable experience.
That's what I'm saying.
Ultimately, the package is so unique that it still results in something worth experiencing for the acting, the small but jamming soundtrack, and the crazy vibe that captures 90s marketing you would be hard-pressed to find anywhere else.
Man, that was beautiful.
You won. You were so good.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3, I'll take you. You know it, too. So I thought I'd just reach out and touch someone.
Like, what am I even watching right now?
Thanks for watching.
Overall, though, I mean, it was a bad game, but I feel like that would be cool. Like that, like even in like a 2K game, if they had like even a mode like that, that would be, I feel like, cool if they did it right. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I like the idea of the game. The execution definitely was not there. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new. As always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.